Hello, everybody. Well, the long awaited return of Tiny CEO is here. There have been a lot of requests from Minifans after I took over the both networks effectively and usurped John, pushed him out of power, and became the all powerful leader yet again. So, a lot of people have asked me to bring back Tiny CEO, and I thought, what better time to do it than right now? I was just suffering through some of Drips in the office. Honestly, one of the worst shows to ever grace the Minifan channels. But glad it's with the Minifan network, but it is god awful. So I thought, I'd come on and do a show because you're probably waking up or going to bed or whatever you're up to at the moment, and you want to know what's going on with the network, what's going on with the CEO. So here I am. Let's start, I guess. I mean, we'll go backwards, I guess, and let's start with Mike and the Minifans. It made a triumphant return last Friday night, and look, I'm a team guy. One thing that is really evident since my first stint as CEO and now taking over both channels again and taking over all the content and being boss of everyone is that I'm leading with a softer touch. I am taking a new approach to this, mainly because this is what the chairman of the board wants. It doesn't matter what I think, because I'm a much better leader than Kirk. Kirk is a terrible leader. But he wants me to stay out of John's way, and he wants me to let things happen a bit more organically rather than when I was in charge the first time, and like to take a little bit more of a firmer grip on what was happening on the channel. So obviously I get lots of negative feedback on Twitter from people that get angry at things I do or don't do with regards to being CEO. You can all fuck off. I am giving people more space, giving people more freedom. Does that mean things won't be as good sometimes? Absolutely. Does that mean people like Mick will make stupid casting decisions? Absolutely. But I'm here to support Mick, for example, not to tear him down, not to criticize him. So Mike and the Minifans last Friday night. So I'll explain it to you again because I know Americans have trouble understanding that there are different time zones other than their own. But so when I woke up on Saturday morning, which is Friday night your time, I received a message from Mick. Could I join him on Mike and the Minifans as a panelist? He didn't tell me he had 6 other panelists. He just told me it would be me, Montante, and Michael. And it turns out he had me, Montante, Matt from Providence, Bill Leach, and someone else. Can't even remember who it was. It was Little People, Big World guy. So there was actually 6 of us on screen, which is way too many. But because I'm a supportive leader, because I am glad Mick has taken over the show, he asked me to be on. I was there. I actually had stuff to do, which I moved around. I didn't do Manners Live. I prioritized supporting my talented host. So I would say to Mick, in future, you and 5 people on screen is too much. I think ideally, Mike and the Minifan should be Mick and 2 people. But you probably want to ask 3 people on because someone always drops out. And then if you get all 3 people turn up, you've only got 4. Whereas if one person drops out, you've got a 2-person guess. So I would say that Mick asked too many people on. And then people were going, oh, Menace didn't talk much or he didn't look interested. I was very interested. I was listening to everything. But I wanted people like Bill Leach and Little People, Big World guy, Matt from Providence, to have their airtime. So I would say to Mick, be better at maybe curating the panel. And he actually could have said to me, hey, Menace, I've got enough people. Don't come on. So that was where he went wrong, I think, with that. I just think that's too many people. And Montante was just talking over everybody. I mean, I don't know how many Adderalls he's had, or Ritalin or whatever he's on, but he just kept yapping away. And in fact, one of my favorite bits of that show was, and you probably can't hear it as well in the video, but at the end, he's yapping away about something I said to him, spit it out. And it doesn't quite come through, I think, on the video, but his reaction to that was gold. I love that. I love Montante. He's a crazy guy. So Mick, yes, less people. I also think it was a pretty vanilla start for Mick. Like those questions were just hack questions. Oh, who do you think's the best third chair? Who's your favorite producer? All this bullshit. Like it was very formulaic. I mean, it felt like a Minifandom, not a Mike and the Minifans. I know it was hard because the main show is coming off a terrible run where there's not a lot of big talking points, but still, he sort of whiffed on the first Mike and the Minifans. So yeah, he'll get better though. I would say to him, you want to ask a bit more specific questions. You want to think a little bit more about the questions, and yeah, have less people on because yeah, 5 other people is just way too many. Everyone's just competing to get in there and competing to chat. So what else? I mean, I'm going to talk about the network stuff. I'm going to talk about the show stuff. One thing I mentioned on Mike and the Minifans last week, that it would be good if someone were to write up Kirk's news stories that he breaks. And lo and behold, early the next week, Jerry Thornton, I think, has started writing up Kirk's stories. So again, write again. It should be KMS doing this sort of stuff, not Jerry Thornton. But we know Dave is too lazy. We know Justin doesn't have the capacity to show initiative. So it's never going to happen. But, right again. For some reason, that comment really irked Dave. I don't know what it was. He tried to make the point that people tweet news out. People tweet news out, but then it is written up later on. Like Schefter, I think it's ESPN.com, puts up all his stuff. Well, I don't know who Schefter works for now, but he always links to articles. So, you can just break news on Twitter, but it won't be taken as seriously unless you put it down somewhere. And that's just the way it is. And if Kirk gets someone to write up all these news stories, then he will get more credit for them. So yeah, it's not a big thing, but poor Dave is so triggered by it. Like I don't know why he's so triggered by it, but because he knows I'm right. He knows that if he just can't be bothered writing. Like he just wants to, as soon as they turn the show off at 11:30, he probably leaves. Like I'm sure the agreement is like he just buzzes out of there as soon as the show's done, and Justin does all the stuff. But yeah, it really seemed to get to Dave. Kirk wasn't playing ball this week. I don't know if you noticed, but I don't know if he's too happy with the network at the moment. There was a lot of negative stuff on the network on the weekend. There's Mike and the Minifans. There was Brando and Sneakers, which we'll get to. There was Hot or Not saying he was fat. But I just don't think Kirk was really willing to play ball. I don't know what it was. He was in a funny mood on Monday's show with Mum McKay and Blind Mike. He was sort of playful, but not as playful. Yeah, I don't think he's in a great mood at the moment, Kirk, because I think deep down he knows the criticisms are probably valid, that the show has started the year pretty horrendously, and he's a man with a lot of pride. He takes a lot of personal pride in his own performances. So I've got no doubt that it's playing on his mind a little bit, and he's just digesting it. I feel at the moment like we're going to see a result of this backlash, because you can't object. No one from an objective standpoint can say that the show started off the year well, and from going to Surviving Barstool recap and then a bloated chat about the dozen. I don't mind the dozen chat, and it wasn't like it took over the show on Monday. It really didn't, but yeah, just the lack of creativity and inventiveness is evident, and I think Minifans are actually right to be upset that the show turned into a Surviving Barstool recap show. That's not what we signed up for. I'm sorry, I don't care whether it's a free show or not. The show's been going for 5 years. Since when has it become a recap of Surviving Barstool? Like, I think it's great that Kirk does all this other stuff at Barstool, the dozen, Surviving Barstool, whatever. But Minifans don't have to like it. Minifans don't have to watch it. Minifans don't have to be into it. And KMS shouldn't just revolve around those stupid things. Like it just became very, very tedious. And I'm sure for the people that were into Surviving Barstool, obviously it wasn't as tedious, but I've heard from many, many people who are alienated by that. And then, you pair that with Dave bringing up all these hyper local stories in Boston. I mean, what's Stupid Instincts as well? You got people tuning in for the Surviving Barstool stuff who are probably from all over the states, and then you follow that up with all this hyper local Boston bullshit. I mean, just a dummy. So while we're staying on the producers, those dummy producers. So on Friday night, Mayo did his stand-up gig. Incredible. Firstly, Justin tweeted out the whole set on KMS Twitter the same night, I think. Wouldn't it have been sensible to hold that back and then play the best bits on the main show? Like, I don't understand the instincts there to just tweet out the whole set for everyone to watch. Like, I think what you do is if you're really being canny, you hold it back, you play some clips on the main show, and then afterwards you can put out the video on Twitter. I mean, that's how you build up interest. You build up, you can hype it up. We've got the Andy Mayo exclusive audio of his set. Now, obviously, there's some sarcasm when I say that there. So first thing, I don't know why Justin was doing that. Just very, very silly. And then we get to Monday's show, and Dave has put. So I use this, so I can confidently tell you exactly what it is. Adobe have now basically a thing that will enhance audio, and it will enhance speech in particular. So if you put something up there, you can just set the degrees in which it enhances it. And it is very good for certain things, absolutely. But it is also, a shortcut to doing stuff. Like you can mess around with audio in Audition and stuff and do stuff yourself, but Adobe makes it much easier for lazy people like Dave. And look, as I said, I use it sometimes. It is really good. But it does change the audio sometimes. And clearly Dave didn't check that because he was like, oh, it's changed the audio. Like, dummy, like check your own work, you fuckwit. But so he used that thing. So then it sounded weird. I don't even think it needed much enhancement. I just think it needed probably a bit of, boosting the audio a bit. Like, it sounded fine on Justin's clip. Like, you could fix that up pretty easily without distorting. I mean, Mayo's delivery is what makes him so good. And as Jackson from Australia said, that the fact that he cut out all the crowd noise, like, Mayo is a Putnam star. Yeah, he's a Putnam star. They love him. So the fact that he wasn't able to, they weren't able to get that reaction was just annoying. Where's my drink? Oh, here it is. I couldn't find my drink. I'm getting a bit of a sore throat. Anyway, okay, so first thing is fuck the audio up. Next thing, right? So sometimes Kirk wants to just play the whole thing. I get that. Maybe Kirk comes in and says, guys, let's just play the whole audio. But they didn't cut any highlights. Did you hear at the end when they were like, oh, were there any bits you want to play? They had no idea. They looked at each other like fucking Tweedledum and Tweedledummer because they hadn't thought maybe they should go through the audio and pick some really good or bad bits. Like, Mayo ended just on an absolute terrible joke. Like, that would have maybe been funny to play that. So, they are just fucking cruising. And I'm sorry, I'm sick of bashing the producers, but they did their job, then they wouldn't get bashed. For them not to cut any clips, to fuck the audio up, that was the thing they wanted to lead with. So they're like, this should be the centerpiece of the show. Let's make fun of Mayo. Yet they didn't prepare for it. I mean, both those fucking troglodytes should be fired for this sort of behavior. So, yeah, just bullshit. Again, I don't know why Kirk takes that shit. Like, if Steve Robinson didn't cut clips of that, he would be fucking eviscerated. He would have been eviscerated. And yet Kirk just sits there like I don't know if he's on different, well, whatever. But yeah, just absolutely awful. And there was a lot of fodder for fun with Mayo's set. And as I said, they're just so lazy. Cullinan just puts it through a fucking audio thing and that's it. They're ready to go. So I'm sorry, but Justin and Dave, pull your finger out. Yeah, see, I think Kirk's pretty much fed up with the network. So what's his name? The Stage 5 guy was saying, I think the Minifans are going to cop some heat. Obviously, he's a big fan of the network. See, that's when I think it actually gets to Kirk, because when something gets to Kirk, he doesn't want to give it oxygen. Like Kirk knows there's a hint of truth. So, well, Sneakers went on Brando's show and absolutely tore Kirk to shreds. And I would say Sneakers you have to take with a grain of salt. So the show's never as bad as Sneakers says, but there are certain elements to Sneakers criticisms that are absolutely valid. And, I think because Kirk knows they're valid, he didn't want to give them any oxygen. It's a defense mechanism. And, sometimes as a creator, you can accept those criticisms, and sometimes you're not in a mental health space to do that. So I totally understand where Kirk's coming from. Maybe he just doesn't want to play ball at the moment. But yeah, Sneakers went on Brando's show and just absolutely laid in on Kirk and the show. And you should go and listen to it if you haven't listened to it. Brando's doing a good show. He was a little bit uncomfortable because he loves the show. He wants to go in to the studio, and yet he's got Sneakers on, just absolutely laying into everything about the show. So yeah, I think Brando's show's getting better. Go and watch it. I think he's going to have Blind Mike on soon, so that'll be a good guest. Coleman to Sneakers to Blind Mike. What a combo! But yeah, I just think Kirk doesn't want to play ball at the moment because he knows there's a lot on. Knows a lot of it's true, and also we're in that stage now where we're heading up to the Laconia show. It's only 5 weeks away. He's got Dave and Justin who are going to provide nothing, zero. Like those dummies, what ideas are they going to have? So Kirk basically has to write and produce the whole live show. So I can understand why he's feeling the pressure. He's just come off, a golden run with Surviving Barstool, cancelling Big Cat, and now he's got to write this show that's going on stage in 5 weeks. I've got some bad news. I can officially confirm I won't be at the Laconia show. It's very sad. I would love to be there, but it's just not possible. I mentioned it before. Got this big project that was supposed to be in December, pushed to February. I'm just not going to be able to come, and I'm not going to enjoy it because I'm going to have all this work hanging over my head. But I'm going to come this year. That's it. I would say, God, when was the most likely time? Yeah, but before my summer next year, so it'll be good. Like, I don't want to come like right in the middle of your summer holidays because that's always a shit fight. So either side of I won't come. I think I was there for the July 4th holiday last time I came. So I don't think I'll come then, but maybe just after that, like August, September, maybe just before that, even like this project's sort of running February, March, April. So maybe I could sort of be there May, June. But yeah, I'm really sad I can't be at Laconia. Kirk offered to pay for my accommodation. I'm sure he was expecting me to do something on stage, which I would have loved. But just can't happen. Just got this, unfortunately. But it will happen. Well, it's going to happen this year. I don't know if I said that last year, but it will definitely happen this year. What else? Hot or Not got a bit of airplay on the show. Great for them. It's a terrible show. It is a terrible show. I mean, I like Tommy and John, but I didn't even get through the latest episode. Like the stuff about Kirk was funny when they were commenting on his weight and his really bad fashion. Like that was good, but the rest was just goddamn awful. I mean, you've got two absolute babblers together. And Quinlan clearly wants to just fucking pound John. And John, I think, doesn't mind who pounds him. So they're just flirting the whole time. I'm glad they're doing it, but yes, some of the shit they were talking about at the end just lost me. It's not as bad as the drips in The Office, but it's pretty bad. It's not quite as bad, but pretty bad. So yeah. So go and watch. So yeah, on Sunday night we had the Brando show. We had Hot or Not. So go and watch both of them. Make your own mind up. Maybe you'll love Hot or Not. I don't know. Maybe you love Drips in The Office. Go and check it out. Let's hope. Let's hope Mike and the Minifans is a good one this weekend. Just on the Kirk thing, he said he wants to go and like perform at Andy Mayo's charity event next year. which is interesting. I mean, big clout chasing move from Kirk there, wanting to steal some of Mayo's audience. I'd love to see that happen. It was interesting. Mayo was saying to Brando, and I've had discussions about this with Mayo since that. Yeah, Mayo was afraid that Justin was going to heckle or do something when he found out he was going. But now, afterwards, the fact that it didn't happen, I think Mayo feels that, oh, Justin and the show aren't the enemies. They're on my side. But then Kirk in the show on Monday was saying to Justin, the old Justin would have heckled, and why didn't you? So I don't think Mayo is going to sleep for the next year worrying about what could happen next year. And I like Mayo a lot, but if we're being honest, this set was a bit of a come down from last year's set. His set last year was quite a bit better, not a lot better because it's still Andy Mayo. But yeah, this set was a bit of a come down from the last year, and comedy's hard, and he still does a good job, but yeah, it was a little bit, like just some of the jokes fell way flat. But yeah, I guess you got to do it clean as well. It's a tough gig. And Blow Mike's right. Mayo has great stage presence. Like, he's a natural. He just went up there and works the room, confident, can riff with the audience. He's like a very good mediocre comic, as Kirk said. Very good mediocre comic, as Kirk said. So yeah, I would say it'd be wonderful if Kirk could perform there next year. I'd love to see Kirk try and do a stand-up set. Can he do as well as Andy? Imagine like he was a celebrity stand-up person, and so he was there. So you've got the gynecologist, you've got the pediatrician, you've got Mayo, then you've got Kirk Minahan. Imagine Kirk doesn't win. That would be funny too. So definitely up for that. And I've been to Putnam. It is a shithole. Not a shithole, but there is nothing there. It's as Justin described. It's like one street. I think it's one street. You walk around a corner, and that's it. And then that's Putnam. I mean, that's the sort of place, and that's the sort of place Mayo can be a celebrity, on a one street town where he's got a business. And I wouldn't even say he's a celebrity. I think that's a stretch too. I'm sure there are a lot more famous people in Putnam. What else? I thought Mama Kay was fantastic on Monday's show. I think her third time in there, and the best performance yet. And I'm not just saying this. People think I'm, I don't know, biased because she's a pretty woman, but I mean, I think I've unearthed a gem there. I think getting her in was a masterstroke. Like, she's not like groundbreakingly amazing, but she's in the top percentile of third chairs. Like, she's your sort of, if you're looking at your top third chairs, your Montantes, your Mama Kays, your John and Warrens, your Cinema Lords, sort of top tier third chairs. She's absolutely. And then Kane's probably even a tier above. So she's right there. And then you've got your others. You've got your lower tiers, your Boston Joes, your Pat Fords. Your kind of losers. But I think she's becoming more comfortable. She can riff. She can have a laugh. It's nice to hear a female voice in there. So I'm really glad. And you actually see that. I think the sweet spot is probably the first one. Most people are nervous. Second one, they're better. But then the third one, is usually when they really get going. Like, obviously what you've got to do is you've got to see enough in the first and second to get them in for the third. But once they get into for the third, they're just rolling, just absolutely humming. So you're really glad she was in again. So I think she's a star, an absolute star. I wish she could do her own show on the network. I'd love the Minna Ladies to come back, Minna Lady show hosted by Mama Kay. That would be fantastic. What else? She played that middle seat game or activity where she had all these options, and Kirk was really nice. Unfortunately, I was paired with Montante, so I think Kirk knows I would be pretty good on an aeroplane, and I would be. You think about it. I'm tiny, so I would take up no space. It's not like I'm going to be, fucking in your seat. I'm not some fatty who's like, you're going to take up half your seat as well. My little legs don't even touch the ground, so Kirk can probably stretch out and use my side of the leg room as well. And I'm not particularly chatty either. I'd probably just put on a podcast or go to sleep. Maybe I talk movies with Kirk for 5 minutes to be polite. But yeah, he was right. Marble Mouth Montante just yapping away like Mike and the Minifan. So we ended up being quite low down the pecking order of who we'd sit with, when probably that's more of a reflection on Montante than me. What else? I mean, that's about it, really. I think Chicken Fry should come on the KMS show as soon as possible. Most importantly, just to get John off. I mean, imagine John will just be there jerking off. Johnny Warren, that is, just jerking off to Chicken Fry if she's on the show. So I would say, look, I'm not watching myself. She should be on. She should be on KMS as soon as possible. That would be my advice. Get her on. She's a star too. They'd probably get views. Get a lot of views, like the Big Cat interview where he shouted me out. People ask me, did I really email Big Cat? Yes, I did. Because I'm a go-getter, and I didn't fucking email him begging for a job like most fucking other Minifans have done, like sad fucks. I just, tried to organize a nice birthday for Kirk. I didn't know what was going on with Big Cat and Kirk, their fake feud. And I have to say, it was a massive anticlimax, Big Cat coming on the show. Both of them turtled like little babies. I mean, Big Cat was always going to turtle, so I think the onus was on Kirk to just go after him. And Kirk was just too chicken shit to do it. Like, everyone was like so keen to see them go one-on-one after surviving. And you knew Dan was going to leave his balls at home. Like, Kirk had to be the one to just go after him. And he sort of said a couple of little things, but it was, unfortunately, in the end, they just like each other too much. And I wouldn't say it was a fake fight. Definitely wasn't a fake fight, but it was for surviving. It was for clicks. And then when it ended, they both moved on. And yeah, I think a lot of people have a right to be disappointed by that interview. It was fine. Dan's always nice. I count him as a friend now, but the fact that it was just nothing. It was very meek. So, Kirk has this tough guy image, but he didn't really want to burn that bridge with Dan. Like, he could have gone a bit harder. Anyway, Kirk's changing. As I said, Kirk's felt a bit, he just felt and looked and sounded in a strange mood to start the week. So I hope he's okay. We forget people have lives. People have things going on outside KMS, and maybe it's a personal thing, but it was very disappointing. I think I've gone through my notes. I mean, the state of the network I've got here is just a topic. As I said, the state of the network is fantastic. Shows are coming back. Some nights we have 3 shows. Tonight we had 2. Tomorrow night we've got 3. So tomorrow night at 7 p.m. you've got PRC Chomps, and it returns after he took the week off. And he actually puts a lot of fucking effort into this show, and I really appreciate it. And there've been a lot of requests. Oh, Jesus, that's me. He puts a lot of effort into these shows, and I'm really glad he does, because someone has to. It can't just be all people jumping on. Oh, okay. Here's the thing, right? So Fireside Chats tomorrow night at 9, I think 9:30, 9 p.m. I think it's due to go. So tomorrow night you've got PRC Chomps, and this is what you're going to get: the McValue breakdown. And then at 8 o'clock you've got Kane's Corner, and then at 9 o'clock you've got Fireside Chat. Now, when I'm talking to Freddie about his show and this whole Mike and the Minifans thing, he keeps talking about like this show he's created, this brand he's created. It's literally just him and a couple of people talking about the show. Like, it's no different to anything that's been on this network for 5 years. I don't know what he's talking about. Like, there's no brand. It's nothing. It's just all he does is he puts some effort into it. So he doesn't write the questions a minute before like Mick, and he's organized in booking his panel. That's it. Other than that, it's just like every other fucking show that's been on this network. It kind of annoys me. It keeps crapping on about, oh, I've done this show, I built this show. You're literally just doing what everyone else fucking does and go on and talk about the show with two other people. So I just think Freddie needs to just fucking pull his head in, and then he's go, oh, I think there needs to be an A and a B channel because he thinks he's special. How is he special? Well, he thinks he's better than Josh. He thinks he's better than PRC. He thinks he's better than Kane. I mean, such horseshit. And that's, I'm not going to take that shit in the second iteration of my CEO's tenure. Like, I like Freddie. He does a good show. Keep doing it, but it's nothing special. Like, it's you and Minna fans talking about the show. Congratulations, fuckhead. And he was so fucking precious about his name and his time and all this bullshit. But anyway, that all aside, make sure you watch it tomorrow night. So Fireside will be live. Kane's Corner will be live at 8. And 7 p.m. you've got PRC. So cannot wait. Any questions from the chat? I haven't been looking at the chat. Look. Don the Jeweler says Mama K was terrible. This is from a guy that, I've actually heard his voice now, so he knows he's a real person. It's actually maybe not. Now that I know he's not like for people, it's fine. But there's no way you can say Mama K was terrible. You can absolutely not be as high on her as I am. But there's just no objective measure with the other third chairs I've had in there that she's terrible. Like, that's, and I think this is true. Don he's a bit like Ted Sarandis, and maybe they're the same person. They very well could be. But Don is clouded by his own biases. They take over and stop him from being actually funny and amusing. He's become predictable. He's just very, very predictable. So I like Don. He's doing a great job. He's helping with the social media for the network. He and Tim Smith from England are handling the Minifan network. So Don and Tim are the social media team, and they're doing a very good job. And I really appreciate Don's help. He's one thing I love about Don is he watches the network, he tweets about the network, he talks about the network, and that's all I care about. So I appreciate that. Any more questions from the chat? I'm getting like comments. Hey, Andrew. Like, he's saying, hey, Manners, and I'm saying, hey, Andrew. Not talking to myself. But yeah, if anyone would like a question, now's your chance. No questions. Good. Well, it's great to have Tiny CEO back. Wanted to jump in there. Obviously, it's hard hosting 4 shows that I do: Aussie Minifan Show, Minifan and Manners Live, Tiny CEO. But the network is cooking. The network is cooking. There are lots more shows coming up. I think the move to unite the networks has worked out very well. Here's a question, Andrew. So it's to me. Can you take over the third chair at bookings again? Andrew, I would like to take over the third chair bookings again, but I'll only do it if I'm paid. I'm not some dumb lackey that's just going to spend hours a week booking people. And I was very diligent. I was very organized. So, they want me. I need money. And just on principle, like, fuck it. I'm not going to do Cullinane's job for him. All right. Well, that is it from Tiny CEO. The return. Remember, big night tomorrow night, PRC, Kane's Corner. And Kane has on, he told me who he has on. He has on Biodude and PRC. So it's going to be a great Kane's Corner. Thank you all.